Hello everyone, Justin here, and today let's draw a dragon. And I'm just gonna make this up, but most dragons, your typical dragon has basically the same parts. So let's just start with an eye, and we'll give it a nice mean looking eyebrow. And we're kind of going to make this somewhat stylistic eyebrow. And then underneath we'll draw the eye, and it's just an egg shape, wider here than over here, and the front of, by the way, of the head will be over here on the left side. So let's go ahead and draw an iris and a pupil and add a highlight there. Let's just go ahead and add the cast shadow that's from the eyebrow, and we'll just extend that all the way across, tapering it towards the front. Alright, so let's draw the top of the head, top of the brow, and let's just kind of curve it down in front of the eyebrow, and then go forward now with the top of its snout, and we'll just go forward a ways, and right here let's give it a nostril. So we'll just add an oval. This will be the nostril, and let's go ahead and make the upper third darker, kind of a crescent shape, and that'll just indicate the shadow. And outline that with another line like that. And let's go ahead and actually extend this line around that outer oval for the front of the nose. And this will go forward more and curve down. Alright, so the cheeks will be here, no snout here obviously, and let's go ahead and give him a big fang here. So these curved lines right here just basically indicate that it's kind of sticking away from the surface of the snout, and then right here then would be a nice big fang. And let's go ahead and stylize those lines a little bit by making this part thicker. Same with this. I'm going to do a lot of this stylizing the lines where it's thicker on one side and tapers to the thin line. So let's go ahead and continue this line then for the snout, going back and thinning out a little bit towards the cheek area. Additionally, underneath we'll go ahead and add kind of like little hairs, and we'll just do these thin lines that kind of vary, S-shaped lines. Some are single or double, others are multiples of hair, and some are crossing, and maybe make them a little bit longer as we go further back here. Just experiment. When you make things up, you don't have to follow any rules. Alright, and let's finish this cheek back here. Actually, I'm going to add some more of these hairs that kind of flow back, and these are just more or less parallel lines that meet at a point. So now here we can see the rest of the cheek. Let's say it's going down here underneath all this hair and then up. Okay, and make that just a little bit thicker. So then back here, let's add another line just outside of the eye, and this again, just like this line here, kind of indicates that the eye is kind of sticking away from the surface of the cheek. And coming off this, then let's add a couple armor plates. Maybe let's just make them kind of diamond shaped, and then maybe another one here that's a little smaller, and another one here that's smaller still, and one up here. Alright, so next thing we're going to do is we're just going to extend this back for towards the neck and curve it. Okay, and then the neck again right here will be kind of smaller, and we'll just make it more or less parallel with that other line. Alright, so underneath, let's add some more hair. And I'm just doing some zigzag lines here and vary them as far as their direction, and then just add some detail. Alright, so let's go ahead and add, say, a spine section that's on top of the head, as well as going back towards the neck. So let's start with these supporting spines, and you can vary these a little bit. And these are just like these are just two lines that converge, and vary the angle and the spacing, but you'll more or less kind of have them pointing backwards just to give it a sense of direction, like that. And then connect these with a curved line, kind of scalloped, and maybe it's got a tear there. And you can vary these as well. Let's add a couple spines maybe on top of the snout, like so. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch to a thinner pen and add more detail. Alright, so let's add an extra line here by the fang and start adding like details that kind of indicate the texture of the parts of the head. And these could kind of indicate scales and more or less parallel lines. And what I'm going to do here, like at the edges, is kind of round them off just to indicate that these are separate scales. Okay, like right there. Same with here. We initially had a solid straight, a solid curved line here, but now that we've separated the parts of the scales here, let's go ahead and curve out that outer edge. Alright, and let's just add some variety here as far as the scales. Let's just add some squared off circles or ovals around the nostril, and I'll just go over the lower parts just to vary that line width there, and maybe add some horizontal lines that go along the length of the snout here. And these again I'm gonna go ahead and separate with ovals, and these ovals will help to hide these initial parallel lines. And as usual, just kind of vary these a bit, and we'll go all the way back here. And remember, this curved line, we'll go ahead and do the same thing just like in the nostril and separate those into small segments, and try to round out that outer line. And this just makes it more realistic as far as separating these scales that are around the eye. Okay, just a couple really thin lines on the edges of these armored plates are behind the eye. And let's just go back here and finish the snout with our ovals, or they kind of start looking like squares. And again, I'm gonna just go over the lower right lines just to vary the line width, and I'll continue down here. And maybe here at the bottom, let's just draw smaller scales. So here I'm drawing parallel lines that are a little bit closer to each other than these parts, right, this part right here. And let's just go all the way back here and maybe make this part here underneath the eye or the cheek area like fish scales. So like C-shaped lines that kind of start overlapping, and we'll do it all the way back here as well. Okay. Alright, we gotta add a little bit of shading here probably, but let's go back here. Just a couple lines here on the right edges of the spines on the snout here. And let's go back here, and actually the eyebrow here, let's separate that as well into segments. So basically he's got scales, protective armor all over its head and body. And here we'll do the same thing as here. Oh, let's finish this part off by adding some more lines up here. Alright, so here let's plan on scales that are more like kind of like this. So let's continue this line here to the back, just following the neck, maybe closer there, and then here another line that's a little bit farther, and another line that's a little bit thinner or closer. Alright, so here let's draw some rectangles or long ovals, whatever you'd like. Alright, and then here let's draw circles or ovals, because it's hard to draw a perfect circle. So let's just call them ovals all the way to the back. And here I'm going to draw ovals. Now notice that I've got the oval kind of tilted this way. The middle scales are upright, and the circles or ovals down here you can't really tell, but here you can tell that I've tilted it this way. So the direction of these ovals kind of help to show the curvature of the neck. And that's without even doing any shading. So here I'm going to do the same. Ovals that are even more tilted to the left. And here I'm just going to draw lines. And this helps, again, give it three-dimensionality, give it some form and shape. And that's pretty much it, I think. You know what, let's go ahead and add the other fang on the other side, and we'll give it a little slightly different direction, kind of going away from that one. And here I'm just going to add extra lines, and that just kind of gives it some shading. I'm not going to do actually a lot of shading here, or any shading. I'm just going to use my lines, keep these simple, keep this as a line drawing basically. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my thin Sharpie and make this a little bit more bold as far as the outline. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my Sharpie and thicken some of these lines. Notice that I already made some of these lines a little bit thicker, and this just makes it a little bit more graphic. And I'm going to actually make the outline thicker. And this makes the drawing a little bolder and makes it look like it's kind of sticking out of the paper, off the paper. Alright, and right here, the fang, and this fang as well. And I'm gonna, the actual outer outline of this would be the hair, but I'm gonna concentrate on making the actual head thicker, like right here. And I'm gonna leave the hair as thin lines, and that just gives it that soft light quality, whereas I want the neck itself to be, and the head to be bold. And I'm just gonna make the outline of the neck a little bit thicker as well, and maybe around the eye, just because I will always want to emphasize the eye. That's the most important part usually of any animal drawing. And I think I'll leave it at that. So there's our dragon. So thanks a lot for watching. I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you next time. Thanks. Have a great day. Bye.